What is going on, everyone? My name is Cody Thixton, and this is Interesting Podcast. On this episode tonight, we are going to be discussing some very interesting topics when it comes to the world of professional wrestling. The Rock and Roman Reigns are rumored to be main eventing WrestleMania 39 next year in Hollywood at SoFi Stadium. Plus, how I see The Rock and Roman Reigns feud playing throughout this coming WrestleMania season, and how The Rock will challenge Roman Reigns. And the final topic, The Rock and Roman Reigns' first movie in Hollywood possibly revealed, and why it's a perfect launch for Roman Reigns when he steps away from WWE. All this on tonight's episode of Interesting Podcast. The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles. WrestleMania will be held on Saturday, April 1st and Sunday, April 2nd, 2023 at SoFi Stadium. And man, this is going to be one of WWE's biggest WrestleManias of all time. There hasn't been enough hype for WrestleMania these few past years, and so it feels really good that we're not even at the Royal Rumble yet, but there's so much hype being built up that it is very, very exciting to be a part of. This is not only just going to be the biggest WrestleMania as far as fan attendance or fan viewership. This is going to be one of the biggest WrestleMania ever, because this will be Triple H's first WrestleMania without Vince McMahon since he retired last July. And everybody is super excited for Triple H to be given the reins to run a WrestleMania, because as we've all seen, Triple H is very, very detailed in professional wrestling, and he wants those details to come back, because it was something that they used to do very, very well, and it was very intriguing and got people watching, and then everything kind of fell off. So now that Triple H is in the reins, now he can take control of everything and make it how he sees it in his image. And everything so far since he's taken over has been amazing. So I'm super excited for this next WrestleMania. The Rock and Roman Reigns will be the big marquee match at this event. This rivalry has been rumored for years now. Actually, I think the earliest rumor was in April of 2019, and we'll get to that in just a second. But The Rock and Roman Reigns, just because of the fact that they're in the news and it's being rumored, WrestleMania has essentially already sold out on both nights, and there's no match card yet. We have no matches announced. It's just WrestleMania. But given the rumors, given Cody Rhodes and The Rock and a possible Stone Cold and John Cena and Logan Paul and everybody who's being rumored to be a part of that event, it is making it so that it's just selling out. And like, that's insane that like we don't even have a match yet, but we already know it's going to be a huge event. And everybody knows that like WrestleMania is already a popular show. And I think one of Triple H's goals going into this year's or next year's WrestleMania is obviously to get more eyes on the product. And I feel like the viewership increase that we're going to see next year at WrestleMania is going to be something we wouldn't have ever thought could occur. And there are multiple of reasons as to why that is, and we will be discussing that on a further podcast. But let's get back to The Rock and Roman Reigns. The earliest rumors of Roman and The Rock was by Johnny Payne of Sportskeeda on April 20th of 2019. And that's insane that it's already been 4 years that the WWE Universe has been talking about this. And I actually have a quote from the website that I'm going to read off for you guys, and I will put a link to it in the description below, and you guys can go over there and read the article yourself. But here's a little snippet of what Johnny Payne had to say. And I quote, "In a video put forth by WWE on its official website, a WrestleMania 36 dream match between Roman Reigns and The Rock has been touted as one of the ideal matches the WWE Universe wants to see next year." End quote. That was back right after WrestleMania 35. That's insane to think that like now we're going on to WrestleMania 39 and now this story is coming to fruition. Like I get, because of the pandemic and because of everything had to be pushed off and The Rock's Hollywood schedule and everything, that it was just a matter of time. But it's still cool that WWE has always like planted these little seeds here and there to get their audience talking, to get their audience speculating. And that's one thing that obviously I think a lot of us love about professional wrestling is the intrigue on a timely manner, like the amount of space that it can take before something actually occurs. Like, for example, if we get Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch next year at WrestleMania, that will also be another 4-year rivalry that is finally coming to fruition because Becky Lynch didn't technically pin Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 35. Her shoulder was up. So that's going to be their whole main point going into their rivalry. And I think that will actually be my next podcast episode will be Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. But after 4 years, the WWE has planted a seed here and there. And the last seed that I saw planted before we went into Survivor Series was on an episode of SmackDown when Roman Reigns was standing in the ring cutting a promo. And he was talking about how all of the people who can't beat Reigns, like all of the people who he's fought or, hasn't fought yet, but they still can't beat him. And he included The Rock in this promo or like on this list. And I remember watching it at home and kind of like freaking out a little bit because it's like there was like I said, that planting of the seed. So I knew that The Rock and Roman Reigns is going to happen at WrestleMania 39 next year. Otherwise, WWE doesn't plant seeds like that. They don't, you know what I mean? But I've actually been predicting that this match would happen, and I predicted when I first heard it that this would be The Rock's final match because it just makes perfect sense, and that he would be returning at the Royal Rumble. So I'm going to hold those because I remember ever since 2019, anybody who I would talk to about professional wrestling and I would talk to them about Roman Reigns and The Rock, everybody is very, very interested in this matchup, especially given that it could be The Rock's final match. The Rock performing at Hollywood or at WrestleMania in Hollywood. This makes perfect sense because obviously, The Rock is a major actor in Hollywood. He's one of the highest paid actors today. So naturally, WWE is going to want the biggest actor in the world to perform at WrestleMania in Hollywood or Los Angeles. And yeah, it just makes sense because it adds that exposure. It's going to, make people want to come and watch WrestleMania. And it's also going to bring exposure to the people around Los Angeles, all the people who can afford, WrestleMania tickets because they're not cheap. So it'll bring a lot of exposure to the company, and it'll hopefully get more viewers onto watching WrestleMania this coming year. And I think that's, like I said earlier, Triple H's whole plan this coming WrestleMania season. The Rock will be passing the torch to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. This has been something that I've been talking about for a few years now, about it making the most sense, because WWE has always pushed Roman Reigns like they want him to be penciled in as the next big guy. like the guy, like John Cena, like a Roman Reigns. So for him to take out The Rock at WrestleMania, it would be one of those moments where after that match, Roman Reigns would be at the top of the mountain. He would be the guy that you have to beat in order to obviously get into a championship match or like a big feud. Like, people are going to want to make a statement with him, just like Roman Reigns is trying to make a statement with The Rock this year. An interesting thought, though, is imagine when the roles are reversed. Who's going to be taking out Roman Reigns within the next few years? Because everybody knows that he wants to go off and go do Hollywood and go start doing movies and whatnot. So what about when Roman Reigns has to retire or step away? Who is he going to give the torch to? My prediction is Cody Rhodes. So I'm predicting that right now on this podcast. We'll look forward to that, and I'll keep you guys updated whenever I find something very interesting when it comes to Cody Rhodes potentially being the next very big person in WWE. Now let's talk about how we get to WrestleMania. So The Rock has been in the news and podcast community lately about returning to the Royal Rumble in Houston, Texas at the end of January. And a lot of people aren't very happy about it. Some people are. And a lot of people are saying that Cody Rhodes needs to win the Royal Rumble. And that if The Rock is to come back at the Royal Rumble, it would almost take away from the moment for Cody Rhodes. And it would also make WrestleMania very difficult, because if Cody Rhodes decides to challenge Roman Reigns if he wins the Royal Rumble, then how is The Rock going to be able to set up a match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania unless, like it's been rumored lately, that Roman fights 2 matches on both nights of WrestleMania? And that can actually get like very, very convoluted, because I get that Roman Reigns and The Rock, their rivalry, they're not going to be doing a whole lot of promo talking, because there isn't a whole lot that you really need to say when it comes to The Rock and Roman Reigns. And The Rock is obviously still going to have work in Hollywood that he has to go back to in the months of February and March going into April. So I could see how WWE could do Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns promos and build while The Rock is stepping away so he can do his other duties. But I feel like both, it would kind of be a double-edged sword, because I feel like if he were to face Cody Rhodes at one, like night one, it would take away from him fighting The Rock. And if he fought The Rock at night one, then it would take away from him fighting Cody Rhodes. So I actually think that Cody Rhodes might win the Royal Rumble, and then we might get Cody Rhodes actually challenging Seth Rollins for his WWE United States Championship, and having it be the first time that a Royal Rumble winner has ever competed for the United States Championship as their chosen title for winning the match, since WWE has really been trying to build the US title. It would be a very smart move to make that something that you can make work, because it would add prestige to the title. Now let's talk about what we could see in the Royal Rumble. Cody Rhodes and The Rock. Could we potentially see a spot in the Royal Rumble where Cody Rhodes and The Rock come face to face and start throwing blows? That would just be amazing. Or imagine Brock Lesnar and The Rock, because you know how Triple H, he's giving us fans exactly what we want. He understands what we want to see. He understands just everybody and like what would be best fit for them. And that's what makes Triple H fantastic for WWE. And I do think we might get a spot with Brock Lesnar and The Rock as like a tease spot, kind of like Triple H saying, hey, I know you guys have been asking for it, and we're not going to be able to do it, but here's a little moment, for you guys at the Royal Rumble. What position do I think The Rock should return at in the Royal Rumble? I think that The Rock should probably return at like a 21 or 22 drawing slot. I think he should come out where it's not number 30, because I feel like that's way too predictable, and WWE's done that way too many times. And it would give The Rock the time to, not make an official like full Rumble appearance, but be able to go in there for the last 20 minutes, half an hour, and get the rest of the superstars out, and then be able to do all of those spots with like a Brock Lesnar or a Cody Rhodes or anybody else that, Triple H thinks that would benefit the fans. And so, yeah, I think he should probably come out at like 20, or like 20, 21, 22, somewhere around there, because I feel like then he will get enough time in the match to actually pull out some spots. But let's talk about after the Royal Rumble. Let's start talking about the interactions between The Rock and Roman Reigns, and when I think it will actually happen, and it does make sense. So, like I said earlier, The Rock has to go back to Hollywood to do his other duties as he's trying to build this feud with Roman Reigns. I could see it being late February after Elimination Chamber, Roman Reigns being inside the ring. He's talking about how he won at Elimination Chamber in whatever match he was in, and it was another person that he added to his list of people who can't beat Roman Reigns. Then all of a sudden, The Rock's music hits and he comes out. It's kind of a surprise, because people know he's going to come out, but maybe didn't know he would come out that night. Then he's going to confront Roman Reigns on how he's been acting as the tribal chief for the Anoa'i family. And then Roman Reigns will want to prove to The Rock that he is who he says he is. And then Roman Reigns will challenge The Rock to retire The Rock at WrestleMania and put the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship on the line, because I think WWE is going to want to get that one more shot of Roman Reigns holding both the titles, because at last year's WrestleMania, Roman Reigns actually injured his arm performing in the main event, and that's why he couldn't fully lift his arms when he was lifting both of the championships. So I could see WWE wanting that picture moment again for the Universal Championship promos or whatever, whatever video packages they want to use it for. So that's how I see their whole like rivalry kind of like playing off. The Rock is just going to come and interrupt Roman Reigns and try and put him in his place, and then we'll get that match, or that setup for the match at WrestleMania in Hollywood next year. The final topic of discussion: has Roman Reigns and Dwayne Johnson's first movie in Hollywood been revealed? This was something I was reading about earlier when I was doing some research on The Rock's future plans for movies, to see if I can get a little sneak peek on if there was anything that could lead to Roman Reigns being there in a movie with The Rock as he makes his debut in Hollywood. And I actually found a movie that is... It's perfect for The Rock and Roman Reigns. I actually found this on cinemablend.com. And this article is by Eric Einsberg and Jason Weiss. The movie is called The King. Now, I will put a link to the I will put a link in the in the description below. Sorry, to the column And this is very, very interesting. And I want you guys to listen to this quote that I have and tell me if this is not the most perfect movie for The Rock and Roman Reigns. Again, this is by cinemablend.com. And I quote, "One of the coolest things about Dwayne Johnson's career is the work that he has done to bring more attention to Samoan culture, honoring his own roots and teaching audience about a people who don't get a lot of focus in pop culture. Titles that stand out in this regard are Moana and Hobbs and Shaw, but soon he will have the opportunity to bring a real piece of history to the big screen." In 2018, The Rock made a deal to team up with directors Hussein Al-Minbois and Robert Zemeckis to try and make The King, a developing biopic that will star Johnson as King Kamehameha and follow his mission in the late 18th century to unite the islands of Hawaii. This is the kind of project that we expect Johnson will work hard to get made, but exactly when he will have time to do it is currently unknown. End quote. This will be Roman Reigns' debut movie in Hollywood. I mean, just them saying that he's trying to bring more attention to Samoan culture. Who is he facing at WrestleMania? His cousin, who is also Samoan. And it says, honoring his own roots and teaching audiences about a people who don't get a lot of focus in pop culture. That is like perfect if you mix Roman Reigns and The Rock. Like, I could see them like wanting to come together, especially if The Rock is trying to help Roman Reigns out and getting him a step into Hollywood and getting him into a role that will fit him. And especially if we're getting The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, this is like a perfect, like WWE likes to do, a planting of the seed for Roman Reigns to have exposure in Hollywood, because you know the news outlets are going to go crazy when the Rock is finally challenged for his retirement. If he loses, he retires. News articles are going to be exploding and Roman Reigns is going to be everywhere. And that's going to be perfect for him just before he goes back to Hollywood or goes into Hollywood and debuts. Rock will go back to Hollywood. But man, I don't know. I found that very, very interesting and wanted to bring it to your guys' attention. So that's all that we have on this episode of Interesting Podcast. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and let me know down below what you think of The Rock's WWE return. Thank you for joining me on today on December 23rd, 2022. Again, my name is Cody Thixton and this was Interesting Podcast. I hope you all have a great Christmas and I'll see you guys later.